Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. If you like to get your adrenaline pumping, there's nothing like a good action flick to do so. But sometimes some of them fall flat, and some of them kind of grip you. There's always going to be there's action films that come out every week, and there's hundreds of them, around the world. But some will stick, and some will last the test of time. So for the ones that I go back to, I'll give you a couple of my favorite franchises. The first one is Die Hard. The first one came out in 1988. The thing with Die Hard, which makes it special, at that point in the 80s, there was a lot of these action flicks coming out, and you had a lot of these buff superhero type guys like Jean Claude Van Damme, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and it seemed to be like hundreds of bullets are flying by, their hair doesn't move, there's no blood, they're indestructible, and it was great. I love them, but at one point a lot of people just couldn't relate to it. They go like, no one would survive. How would you survive this? And all of a sudden, this movie's being announced, Die Hard, with an actor called Bruce Willis, who wasn't the megastar at the time. He was in this kind of romantic comedy series called Moonlighting. So people didn't associate this guy with the likes of Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Van Damme, and the list went on, right? But when it came out, it just shattered the genre, and it flipped it over. We had a movie directed by John McTiernan who puts relentless action, clever dialogue, and a charismatic performances not only by our protagonist Bruce Willis, but the bad guy, who's played by Alan Rickman, who plays Hans Gruber, single-handedly may have created one of the best villains in cinematic history, and it just destroyed the genre. Of course, since they made so much money, they had to make more. So I'll try to rank them for you and which ones I'd like in terms of watchability. Last on my list is the 2013's A Good Day to Die Hard. It's basically John McClane is with his son in Russia. It felt generic. It's an okay action film if they would have taken out Die Hard. If they would have named it something else, I think it would have done a whole lot better. But when you have something that says Die Hard, people's expectations are through the roof. So I'm going to say that's last on my list. Next up is Die Hard 2. Sometime it was called Die Harder. It's kind of a repeat of the first one. Instead of in a skyscraper, he's in an airport and he's trapped in a small contained area fighting terrorists. Even he mentions it that how can the same shit happen to the same guy twice, at Christmas. It's still good, but I think a lot of people were saying like if he's always going to be stuck in a confined area, like this series is going to get dull pretty fast, right? A few years flew by and we didn't hear anything, and all of a sudden we got Live Free or Die Hard in 2007. I enjoyed it. Great action sequences, although Bruce Willis seemed to kind of fall into that Schwarzenegger Stallone archetype where no matter what's happening, he seems indestructible. That was the little thing I didn't like, but it was still great nonetheless. I think it just brought Die Hard to a more modern uh, viewing audience. It's still good nonetheless. Next up, we have 1995's Die Hard with a Vengeance. John McTiernan returns to the franchise. And I think at this point, I remember when I first saw this, I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. It's very different. It's more of a buddy cop film with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson's character Zeus, how they're going all over the city trying to, solve these riddles from this terrorist played by Jeremy Irons. But looking back at it now, it is a great sequel. It breaks that tradition of being caught in a skyscraper or some enclosed area, and it turns the genre over again on its head, which is what the original Die Hard did, and that's the beauty of it. And of course, the first one will be number one on my list, 1988's Die Hard. Again, the amazing action, the dialogue, and the performances by Willis and Rickman elevate this film to the masterpiece that it is in terms of action films. So if you're looking for a good franchise and you just finished probably John Wick or something, you're looking for something else. I think Die Hard is a good place to start. It's a great, great, great series. Okay, great series. I'm gonna say there's some good entries in it. I think Die Hard with a Vengeance, and Live Free and Die Hard are probably really strong entries in there. Die Hard 2 is still good. The last one that came out is too generic for my taste. But you let me know. Do you like the Die Hard series? Have you ever seen them? Do you really think Bruce Willis is a good action hero? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Share them down below. I'll probably post maybe a trailer or something, and you let me know what you think of this. This is Steven with my thoughts on some of the best action franchises ever, and this one being Die Hard.